Welcome to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast, the world's #1 podcast when it comes to wholesaling real estate. I am your host, Brent Daniels. If this is your first time listening or watching, welcome. If you are one of our loyal Rhino Tribe members, thank you so much for making this incredibly special. Each week, Tom Kroll, Cody Hoffine, and myself bring you thoughts and interviews from around the country for one single purpose, and that is to give you the instruction on how to go out and find the absolute best real estate opportunities in your marketplace. That leads me to this incredible, our incredible guest today on the podcast. This wholesaling woman is out of Mississippi. And she's going to break down her incredible journey with her wholesaling business. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Jennifer Tolbert. Say hello.
Hi, guys. Thanks, Brent. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being on here. This is incredible. I think that, the best part about this podcast is we get different people from different places, different markets, some big, some small, but all with the same common theme, which is go out and find those opportunities that nobody else knows about, right?
Right.
So
Right.
your journey started a year ago, 2 years ago, when did your journey in real estate, just real estate specific, start?
Yeah. So last year I started, I became an agent in about, I think it was like February, end of February. And I started in the retail side. I started out with a team, put my foot down and just, went at it and tried to learn as much as I could about the retail side. And then as far as getting into the investment side, my husband actually does investments. So I kept sitting and I was looking at him and he was doing deals and I was like, wow, like you're not even putting that much work in. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was interesting to watch that. But I watched that or whatever, and then I learned what I could about retail, and then actually the first of this year is when I started, kind of diving more into the investment side. So, and that leads me here
I love
today.
it. And this is a question that I get all the time. The question that I get all the time is, should I or do I need to get a real estate license to start wholesaling, to be in this business, right? It's a common question I get
Yeah,
all the time because I've been licensed since 2004. Now, my answer to
gotcha.
them is you absolutely don't, but it's personal preference. What do you think? I mean, did you know about it? It sounds like you got your license first and then your journey towards wholesaling came after. Is that right?
That's right. That's great. Yeah. So I was all about retail. I was all about, I wanted to work with the buyers. I wanted to work with the sellers. I was just all about retail. I had no idea, that I could, go as far as I've gone right now on investment sides. So it was very interesting. After a while though, I was just like, maybe this is not for me, maybe driving around with the buyers all day and,
Mm-hmm.
appointment after, you know what I mean? And then sometimes you never put anything under contract. So, but when it comes to the investment side, I feel like, you don't have to have your license. I feel like it is an advantage in a
Awesome.
sense.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, I always have to disclose, of course, that I'm a realtor. So,
Yep.
I've found here that it makes people feel a little bit more comfortable
Sure.
that, I'm not just, trying to, steal their house from them or whatever. Like I really, I'm serious about this. And so I don't think it's necessary. I think it can help. I mean, I have to run comps and stuff like that. So I have that at my fingertips. It's not, it's just, I don't know, it depends on how you want to take it or where you want to go with it, I guess.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would say don't let getting a real estate license stop you from starting your wholesaling journey, right?
Right.
But I will say that it is a huge advantage that you get access to the MLS, right?
Hmm.
You get access to all the free training you could possibly believe because
Yeah.
everybody comes into brokerages trying to train you and teach you about all the processes and how to comp properties and how to use certain tools really, really well. Plus, it gives
Right.
you some credibility when you're reaching out to other real estate agents that say,
True.
hey, I'm with this brokerage. I actually am a buyer myself. I'm not going to waste your time. I
Right.
know what you go through. I know the ups and downs of representing buyers, but I want to be the easiest buyer that you have. I speak the language, that type of thing. So there is an advantage there, but do not, if you're listening to this, do not let it stop you. But what I will tell you is if you were a real estate agent and you have just stumbled onto this podcast, and you're listening to the first few podcasts and you're getting kind of excited and you're a little bit nervous, can I be the buyer in wholesale, or should I stay in this comfort zone of representing buyers and sellers and just kind of work it that way? What I will tell you is this. As an agent, I made 2.7% on average for the sale for commissions. That was between buying and selling. With wholesaling, I make 16%.
Woohoo!
Not even close. Not even close.
I know.
It's not
I
even
know.
close. And the interesting thing, and I'm sure that you know this, like because you mentioned it about being around the buyers and the sellers, every week you have a new boss, right? Every week,
Yeah.
like the sellers and the buyers are your boss, right? They're telling
Right.
you what they want to see. They're telling you what they expect from you. They want this and that, especially if you're listing a lot of properties. So you've got a lot of bosses with a lot of different personalities and a lot of different
Yes.
situations, and it can really, really wear on your soul. I mean, at least for me, right?
Literally, yes. It definitely can wear you down. And like you said, you have all these bosses everywhere. But, I found like with just this one deal that I just completed, I was in control of that deal. Like, I know it's their house, but, like, hey, I'm offering you this and,
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah, blah. But yeah, definitely. It's a lot of work keeping up with all the buyers, all the sellers. This person wants that and this person wants to go here. And it's a lot. It definitely is.
So,
So
so you joined my TTP program, and then
yes,
how do you adjust because you still do traditional real estate, right?
right, right,
Right? And you do wholesaling.
right.
What does your schedule look like to be able to handle all that?
Yeah, yeah. So originally, okay, so my schedule was I was with the team, and so the team was very structured. So we're up, at the office at 8 o'clock. We made calls. We cold called like for what 2 hours, and
Wow.
so I was kind of coming into TTP. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this, but I know not everybody has that, to fall back on. But yeah, so my schedule is, I don't get up quite as early because I don't have to be at the office now. But I usually spend about an hour and a half, especially prior to this deal, I spent about an hour and a half making cold calls. And it wasn't every day, it was probably, maybe 3, 4 days a week.
Yep.
So yeah, I spent about an hour and a half making calls, and it was just sitting here, just letting it rip. I use Mojo, just let
Yep.
it go.
How was it the first time you started? Like I remember the first
Um,
time I started, I made one call. I mean, I pressed go on Mojo. I talked to one seller, and all of a sudden I was like, oh no, 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 no. And this was when I first started. Like you, I was doing traditional real estate. I was calling these canceled and expired listings, these for sale by owners. They yelled at me. I'm getting 50 calls today on this listing. Who blah 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 blah. Calling me everything in the book. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sensitive to this. Like, oh man, I can't do this, right? And then finally I
yeah,
got in and I built up the endurance for it. But how was it when you first started?
when I first started, actually, believe it or not, I was nervous. I was very nervous. Even though I had already done cold calling, I was still nervous because it was new. It was something, it was different. But, I stuck with it. I made that first call and, I stuck with your script. Your
Yep.
script is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just opens it up. And so, I got a few people that were like, well, who are you? And, how did you get my number? And, this type of deal. But for the most part, everybody was pretty, they were able to open up. And I guess, I don't know, maybe my previous cold calling experience helped that. But
Sure.
yeah, yeah, I was nervous at first. But hey, after that I don't know, first two, three, four phone calls and, the person hangs up or they fuss you out or whatever, you just keep going. You just,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really important, and I've said this on some of the other podcasts, but get everything set up, right? Get your list in there, get your dialer set up, or even if you're starting out and you're just hand dialing these things, have your list ready and just don't have anything in your way to just press go. Because if there's
Mm-hmm.
anything in your way, if there's any little thing that's going to distract you for 20 seconds or more, it is going to stop you from starting, right? All of a sudden we
Mm-hmm.
start, coming up with these crazy ideas in our heads and what to expect and what's going to happen, right? We play these mind games and
Yeah.
and then we don't ever take the action, and that really stunts our growth in this business. And it's really interesting.
Yeah.
I found personally the calls when you're calling as the buyer is way
Mm-hmm.
easier than calling as a real estate professional, right?
I agree. I totally agree.
Way easier.
Way
Way
easier.
easier. So for any real estate agent out there that's grinding on phones and really doing it and calling all these people for listings or buyers or whatever, I'm telling you, wholesaling is the way to go. Calling,
Yeah, it really is.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, it really is.
so you would go
Mhm.
2 hours a day, hour and a half, 2 hours a day.
Yeah.
You still do it now,
Yeah, I would either. No, not as much.
okay?
I've got some other things going on, but yeah, I would start out. It was either in the morning time or in the afternoon time, and I did find out that the afternoon time worked better. As far as getting people on the phone
Love it. Okay.
here. So
Yeah.
yeah, afternoon. Yeah, I probably
Was it
spent a
was
little
it
bit
what
more.
was it harder or
uh,
easier to be consistent in the afternoon?
For me, it was a little bit easier because I'm just not a morning person. So it was a little bit easier for me to be consistent in the afternoon.
I love it.
Yeah, because the kids were not here and things like that, so it was just easier.
Yeah, I love it.
And like I said,
Go ahead.
and I was gonna say, and I got a better response rate in the afternoon. So
Awesome. That's really, really good
yeah,
input. I mean, I always had to do it in the morning because the afternoons became like crazy and things happened. But the best cold caller in the country, Luke Rodfold, who I've done a video with, I mean, he doesn't start cold calling until 1 o'clock in the afternoon and just crushes it till 4. So I mean,
yeah,
I think it's personal preference. I
yeah,
think if you know that you're going to have a lot of distractions in the afternoon, then get it
yeah,
done in the morning. But if you're feeling
yeah,
that vibe, like I only like exercising in the afternoon. Like I like my body being warmed up. I'm not a morning person. I like, every time I get injured, it would be like in the morning, right? Because I just wasn't warmed up enough. So I like it in the afternoon. So that's the same thing with our brains and with making these
right,
calls, and with our ability to communicate, our ability to talk to people. If it's better in the afternoon and you have the self awareness to know that, rock and roll. Yeah,
yeah,
I fully encourage that.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I totally agree.
So let's break down because you got your first. We're going to break down your first wholesale deal. Like this is so incredible. I'm so excited to share this with everybody. So you started out. Tell me, it was a cold call, right?
Right, right, right.
And
So actually,
what? Go
okay.
ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you rock and roll. You go for it.
Yeah, so yeah, it was actually a cold call. So I'd actually spent time, making phone calls, and I was using a particular list, which was the delinquent tax with absentee owners. So I called a couple times, and of course, I didn't get an answer. And so I got a call back
Mm-hmm.
actually from the property owner, and it wasn't the actual wife; it was the husband. He gave me a call back, and so I spoke with him and let him know like, hey, I'm looking to buy your property, this type of deal. And so it was at that point. I guess he had seen my missed calls. I don't know, maybe he just felt like, okay, let me talk to this girl. But so talked to him. Like I said, we made an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
We made an appointment for, I think it was the very next day or maybe 2 days later. So made the appointment, went out to the house, met with the husband and wife. The house is in great condition. I'll say I feel pretty blessed to have gotten a house, that didn't need a ton of work.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we met, checked out the house, came back, ran numbers, I ran comps and things like that. Called him the next day, gave him the offer. He said, we'll take it. I was like, wait. Was it that easy?
It
So,
is,
so
yes.
yeah, yeah, I was blown away. And so he's like, okay, we'll take it. And so I was like, all right. So next day, went back out, signed the contract, got it locked down, and I think we closed in like 3 weeks on that
I
one.
love it. And what was it, why did he want to sell it? What was his motivation?
Okay, so the wife had owned the house for like years. She
Yeah.
was married previously, and she didn't want the house anymore. They kept all the maintenance up on it. They all the utilities were still on. They came over, and cleaned up the lawn, and they were just sorry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just came over and they kept it up, and so she just didn't want it anymore. They didn't want to pay taxes. They lived, I think, another county over.
Mm-hmm.
She had got remarried.
Love it.
So yeah, they were just, hey,
So was it
we don't want it.
vacant?
Yeah, it was vacant.
They didn't even rent it out. They just kept it
Nope.
up.
She didn't want to rent it. They didn't. Yeah, they didn't want to fool with any renters. They
I
just
love
kept
it.
it up. Like, yeah, it was in moving condition. Like it was ready to go.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. And this is really an interesting niche because
Hmm.
sometimes when people get divorced, well, every time when people get divorced, the assets get split up. Somebody gets the house, and if there's, maybe some bad emotions about the house, or they're like, I want to start over, I want to start fresh, I want to move out. Obviously, did she own it free and clear?
She owned it free and
Free
clear.
and
And
clear.
she even had she had a son that she had raised there in the house, but he didn't want the house either. Like I said, it was in a great, condition. It was in a great spot. There were other renters in the neighborhood. They knew the neighbors, for years,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but they just didn't want it. And
Just
I
didn't
was
want it.
there. I was like, yeah, yeah. So the wife was she was kind of apprehensive, because she was like, I don't want to deal with all the paperwork and, listing it with the realtor. She didn't want to deal with all that. And I was like, well, that's fine. We don't have to go through any of that. I am a realtor, just in case you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, so see, yeah,
So
it was
what?
it was
So
it was great.
give us some specifics. What did you put it under contract for?
We put it on the contract for 57,621.
Okay, and
Yeah.
57 and some change. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you put it out to your buyers, what did you put it out for, and what did you get?
We put it out for 73.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So my husband, like I said, he was already working on the investment side, and so we have a business phone that we use, and so I was able to go through his phone and kind of locate a buyer that way.
Interesting. Interesting. So
Yeah.
he had some peers, just some people in his
Right.
network that you reached out to, and they wanted it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we negotiated on it. We ended up negotiating at 70,000.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, and I still walked away with, I think my check was like a little bit over 12,000.
12,000 on your first check, and in three
Yeah.
weeks, right? What was the timeline from the first conversation to getting that check?
Okay. So talked to them on like May 15th,
Yeah.
and we closed on June 7th.
Oh, I love it. Look at that. Hold on a second. You made 12,000?
12,379. Yeah. It was
Ring
pretty awesome.
that bell.
I was pretty
I
stoked.
love it. I'm stoked. I love it. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's literally, sometimes when you make these calls, people are ready to go right away. Like and they called you back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you leave a voicemail, or was it just they saw a missed call, called you back, and you started that conversation?
Yeah, so like I said, I had called I think 2 to 3 times, and so I
Mm-hmm.
guess they saw that missed call, and they called me back. Yeah, I didn't leave a voicemail. I didn't. I can't remember if I did a text message, because some of them that I called, I did text messages on.
Sure.
I can't remember, but yeah, so it was definitely a cold call. I mean, had I not called, I wouldn't have gotten that deal.
Incredible.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so the husband, he was actually a retired state trooper, and he was a judge for a little while. So, I mean, it was great. It was great to work with them. Like I said, they were able to trust me. I disclosed, the fact that I'm a realtor, but hey,
Sure.
take this off of your hands, basically.
Yeah.
Um, so it was great.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think, it's really interesting. I think that as a woman in the wholesaling business, in the real estate business in general, I truly believe that you have a huge advantage. I believe that you have such a huge advantage that literally both my acquisition managers are women, and my number one cold caller is a woman. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
it is not, that is not just because. I mean, that's really purposeful. The women in this industry are extremely powerful, and people really trust you a lot easier, and they understand. And it's just, I think that more women need to be inspired to get into wholesaling and feel confident that they can go out and do this, especially if they come from a real estate background. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree because at first, initially, I was even getting into the retail side, I was thinking about all these, crazy scenarios and things like that. But yeah, I totally agree. Being a woman, it's different, because sometimes I do think more about where I'm going or who I'm
Sure.
talking to or whatever. But on that, and, the safety aspect. But I do find that people, I don't know, they will talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, an advantage that I found was, but exactly like you were saying, we go into some really rough neighborhoods, right? Not anything that I'd be uncomfortable with them going to, but we do
Right.
all of the legwork. Like literally, the only time they go to the property is when they're going to sign a contract and get the pictures taken. Typically.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
but and that might be like if it was a guy doing it or if it was me doing it, maybe I'd rush out to the property and try to build face-to-face rapport and then not get that deal. Well, they're getting all these
Right.
deals basically over the phone, and it's
Yeah.
been so powerful because I can give them more and more and more leads, that because
Yeah.
they can stay in the office like you right now, make the
Yeah.
calls, follow up, get it to the point where you go, you sign a contract, and then you sell it. You know what I mean? I think it's a
Yeah.
huge advantage. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
it.
And that's kind of more so what we're doing now. Like I don't go out as much. I mean, maybe I should. but but yeah, that's kind of more what we're leaning to. I mean, I'm okay now with being on the phone, making those calls and, getting people on the phone and building rapport. Like I'm great with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because initially when I went into retail, I had no like desire to go into investments, to wholesale. I told my husband, I was like, he was like, maybe you should think about this and, look at this and, look at the numbers, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'll stick with retail. That's your thing. You do
Yep.
it.
Yep.
But hey, I'm a believer now.
Now you got it. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a fact, right? So
Yeah.
it's not even
Yeah.
that you believe you can do it. It's a fact that you can do it. You've got the
Yeah.
cold hard. I mean, you've got the closing. You've got the funds. You've got the process. I mean, you know that you can do this again and again
Yeah.
and again and again.
Yeah.
So what does
Yeah.
it look like now? What is your, like, do you have a pipeline of leads that you're following up with? Are you like what are you doing now?
Yeah, yeah. We basically, like I said, I'm working with my husband on things. But we have a pipeline of leads that we are working on. We're actually trying to, feed more leads into it as far as like the tax delinquent, because that I mean those have been pretty awesome to work with, the
I
tax
love it.
delinquents. So yeah, yeah, just working on that, just trying to keep it going.
Yeah, awesome. And you're saying now you mentioned, and I'm not going to let you off the hook for this because I do
Yep.
remember you said that you're not being consistent with your calls as much as you were because you got
Right.
because you got other things going on. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. You make
I
calls and you
know.
get 12 grand. I
I
mean,
know, I know, I know. Working on some other deals, working on
got it.
I guess some other business deals. And then school's out. Oh my God, the kids are here and
Yep,
they're so distracting.
I know. I know it. That's why I'm on a 19th floor of a building, just so my kids can't find me. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. Working on that too. Getting out of here. No.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, speak now to somebody starting out. Maybe you speak now to somebody that is a woman that's thinking about wholesaling, that's thinking about a life and a career in wholesaling or real estate. Like, what advice would you give them starting out?
I would say, oh gosh. Don't be afraid. You can do it. I mean, I don't know. It's so much to it. I don't know. Don't be afraid. Reach out to other women who are already doing it. See what they're doing. See what they're not doing, or you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
just because it's I guess a male dominated field doesn't mean that there's not women out there that's rocking it out. So
Yep.
yeah, I would say dig into it. Go for it.
I love it.
Don't be afraid.
I love it. That's perfection. Perfection. I love it. How would people reach out to you? Do you have like an email or an Instagram or something that you would be able to
Yeah,
communicate?
email is fine. Yeah, Jennifer Talbert, my first and last name, Holmes with an S, Homes at gmail.com.
Spell your last name for everybody.
Talbert, Tolbert.
That's it. Perfect. Thank you, Jennifer. It has been absolutely phenomenal. I really
Thank
think that we need a lot more powerful women like you in the wholesaling business, because you guys would just beat us dudes like a drum. You guys have such an advantage. I want to encourage as many women as possible to really, really, really think about it. Make sure that feels good in your gut, and then go for it, because this business
Yeah,
is life changing. It truly is. And I love that you let us down your journey in this. That's incredible.
yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. And if you are interested in joining the most proactive group in real estate with Jennifer, it is the TTP program. You go to wholesalinginc.com/TTP. That's wholesalinginc.com/TTP. Check out what it's about. Check out the testimonials. If it feels good, again, in your gut, set up a call. It'll be the best call of your year. I look forward to working with you personally. Jennifer, you are the best. Thank you so much
Thank
for being on here. I really, really appreciate it. And you are Biloxi,
Yes.
Mississippi. Okay,
Hmm.
for everybody that's out there that's in and around Biloxi, Mississippi, reach out. Or anywhere, any woman, any guy, anywhere that's interested, inspired, reach out to her in her email. You're the best. Until next time,
Thank you.
guys, keep listening. Go and take action. These podcasts mean nothing if you don't take action. And I encourage you to talk to people. Until next time,
Yes.
see ya. Bye.
Yes. Bye bye.